Paranormal. It surrounds us. It's everywhere. Tonight, you will hear from the people who live and work within these highly active locations. All in the efforts to discover America's most haunted. With your host, ghost hunter and author, Dan Terry.
Good evening, boys and ghouls. I am Dan Terry, your ghost host with the most haunted. And we're going back to the Midwest now, back into Illinois this time. And we're going to be talking to Neal, who is the founder of Graveside Paranormal. This is a do it for everything. They've got tours. Marinette, I think it's pronounced, Park in Illinois, some Chicago tours. They've got investigations. They've done some investigations in some pretty wild places. I hope to talk to them about one called the Irish Legend, but also Melody Lounge, among other things. And also got his own podcast, and it's called the Paranormal Guys podcast on Apple and on YouTube. But he tells me he's going to be starting a new one here fairly soon. So we'll talk more about that when he gets the new one up as well. But let me bring up Neal from Graveside Paranormal.
Good morning.
How you doing, Neal?
I'm all right. How are you today?
Doing good. The weather's actually nice for a change.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. How's things in Illinois? Usually around Chicago, it's very hot this time of year.
Yeah, it was hot. Man, it was like 90 degrees, just sweltering heat. Today, it's not so bad. It's a little cloudy. We had a little bit of rain, which the grass needs it. But other than that, it's not too bad today.
Well, good. You've been doing this now for like 10 years.
Yeah, this is our 10th anniversary.
Yeah. And you're in central Illinois. There's a lot of haunted stuff there. There's a lot of ghost hunting groups and teams and tours there. What makes yours different?
Well, what makes ours different is that, number one, what I do for tours, I'm an entertainer. And I love to make sure that people are entertained. Mm-hmm. It's about making sure that you have your audience wanting to see and enjoy the whole night. I take people out about 4.5 to 5 hours into the night, and you want to keep them on their toes all night long. So what I do is I run videos, I run music and this and that. We play games on the bus. We show them true hauntings. Every single place that I talk about in the Chicagoland area, I've investigated. So I have proof of hauntings that is going on in those areas. I find it very important to make sure that you have your audience ready to go, wanting to enjoy the whole night. So I think if you let up at all and you give them, then they're going to do the snooze effect. And I don't want them to do that. I want them to, they're paying a nice amount of money for their tour. I want to give them the best show every single time.
But you don't use any cheap actors jumping out or people doing weird things. It's all about your stories.
Oh yeah, I'm a storyteller. So I make sure that people, every time when we get to a certain location, I am eye to eye with each and every person, going back and forth, and I get them engulfed into the story. It's very important for me to do that, and it's something I truly love to do. I always tell people, find something that you truly love to do in life and make it into a business, and you'll always be successful, and that's what I've done.
What about the trolley tour? You do specifically trolley tours, right? Or do you do?
No, they're not trolleys. The big limousine buses. They have a bunch of TVs inside of them, so everybody can see all the videos and stuff like that. But we take up it's a 56 passenger bus with a washroom on it.
Okay, so you take a large number of people. You're showing them the videos. You said you like to keep them entertained. What do you do through the whole thing?
So we'll start off and we'll do an introduction video, and it'll be music. It'll be something that's, just totally engulfs the audience member so that they start getting into it. Because that, like I said before, is that you want to be upbeat. So we're going to be showing that. And then I start talking on the bus. I actually do a tutorial on there about what types of hauntings, from residual to poltergeist to demonic and stuff like that. And so you want to teach your audience because that's what they're there for. Mm-hmm. They want to know about the supernatural, the paranormal. So you have to make sure that you give them the best show for that.
What kind of videos are you showing? Things from your own investigations?
Yeah, own investigations, as well as, just like, so what I do is I go into YouTube and I clip out things from YouTube, downloader, and I put them on the bus, like little movies, little short movies, like the 5 most shadow people of the year or something like that. Once again, just a bunch of videos of hauntings. Like we'll say, like you wanted to talk about the Irish legend. I'll talk about that, where we actually got a face that was down in the basement. All of a sudden shows up in one of the videos. So we try to show them exactly what we found.
Okay. Well, while we're on the topic, what is the Irish legend?
So the Irish legend, which is in Willow Springs, Illinois, it was originally called the O. Henry Roadhouse back in the 1920s. Okay. Across the street from it was called the O. Henry Ballroom. That's where the story of Resurrection Mary derives from.
Okay.
For your audience members who don't know about Resurrection Mary, it's about a haunted hitchhiker, a lady in white who is on Archer Avenue. That's been known since the 1930s. But the Irish legend goes back to the old Henry Roadhouse when Al Capone's brother, Frank Capone, ran it. Underneath the building, running across the street to the old Henry Ballroom, were tunnels and stuff like that, where they would have brothels. They would be putting a bunch of liquor and alcohol, distributing it through these tunnels underneath the grounds and stuff like that. And this was all going in the 1920s. What they have going on in that place, they have definitely a haunting. But I think it's a manipulative spirit that likes to pretend it's a child. I don't think it is a child, because the story goes is that Al Capone had an illegitimate child, and for whatever reason, it was living in this brothel, otherwise known as the O. Henry Roadhouse. And we actually got evidence of a little boy, like on one of my EVPs. I go, are you down here, Adam? And all of a sudden you hear, I'm sick, in a child's voice. But after a lot of people know, and you know, after investigating the same place over and over again, you start to notice trends of what's going on. And when you start to notice trends, you start to figure out what kind of haunting you have. You're never going to figure it out on the first one or two times of going out there to go visit the place, at least for me. But after a certain amount of time, you're eventually going to figure it out. And the minute that I said, I think that you're a manipulative spirit, not a child, it discontinued. It did not want to play anymore. I think sometimes when you reach out to these things and you tell them what you believe that they are, they'll stop playing. I don't know if you've ever had that before, Dan.
Not like that, but it's intriguing. Most of them they'll stop dealing with me when I call them out until the next time I show up, and then it all starts over again. So that's interesting. When you say manipulative spirit, are you thinking demonic, or are you thinking a human spirit who lies?
I'm going to see, and I try to stay away from using the word demonic, okay? I really do. I like to just say some kind of entity, some kind of inhuman spirit, okay? I'm not a demonologist, and I'm not going to even sit here and pretend like I am, because that's not what I am. No matter what, it's something that has intelligence, and for whatever reason, it wants to pretend. Okay. And it'll sit there and pretend with you and manipulate you. Why? Because it wants to lure you in so you come back. And then you start to all of a sudden have obsession. And once you start to get that obsession, that leads to attachments.
Neal, I got to tell you, it sounded demonic to me, the way you describe it, even though I use the more blunt terms.
No, I get it. I get it. It's I get exactly how you're saying that. It's just, for me, how I explain actually about demons and stuff like that. And once again, I'm not an expert there, because there's no such thing as experts in this field. There's only good researchers who notice trends in hauntings and environments. That's well my said. Opinion. That's what my opinion.
I'm with you.
The way I explain about demons is, demons and I explained this on the bus, is when we let our defenses down in life, either through drugs, alcohol, depression, this and that, we open up a door. And when that door opens up, these things are out there. And those are the demons I'm talking about. I do believe in demons, but I cannot say that that thing at the Roadhouse is a demon.
Okay.
I just believe that it's a manipulative spirit that for whatever reason it is pretending, because we never ever had anything where I felt scared. Like I'm an empath. So I guess people have been telling me that I'm some kind of, I sometimes can't define what I am. So I actually have asked some people and they said that you're some talkative medium or something like that, where you get these people in your dreams and this and that. So I've had that happen, but I really believe that this is a manipulative spirit, and there are other spirits that inhabit this Irish legend as well. Up in the upstairs, I believe that there's an older man that's up in the upstairs part. People have taken pictures, and they were able to get the reflections of somebody's face. It looks like a manly face that's up in that area.
Okay.
Yeah. But a lot of these hauntings, the reason why a lot of these hauntings happen, all right, we're going to say like the old Henry Roadhouse I was just talking about. It's because of a thing called Archer Avenue. It's a road that goes east and west, up and down the Willow Springs all the way to the Chicagoland area. Now, the Potawatomi tribe believed they were Native Americans who really believed in supernatural. A lot of Native Americans were big into supernatural, as you know. And they believed that a thing, ley lines laid up and down Archer Avenue, which gave off supernatural activity. And the way I explain it is like, think about it as like a faucet. And I believe when changes in environment and stuff like that, that this faucet, it'll go on just a little bit of dribble of water will come out. And then you get a little bit of supernatural activity. But when the environment's just right, it's just perfect, that faucet is going to open up all the way. You're going to get that full stream of that supernatural water activity, right? So this area here has hauntings from Resurrection Mary, the thing at Archer Woods that we'll get into about the shadow people. You have the Old Henry Roadhouse. You have a thing called St. James Cemetery, where monks are floating around in the cemetery at night.
Really?
That have been seen floating around in the cemetery. Also, blue orbs of light bouncing around. And I personally seen these blue orbs of light with groups that I've taken out to St. James when we were able to go into St. James at night. But all up and down that area, it's really weird that different things that people see due to ley lines.
Okay. While we're on the topic of cemeteries in Chicago, Bachelor Grove's got to be the most famous. Have you made it out there?
Oh my God, yeah. Oh yeah. So
all right.
Oh yeah. So I've been doing it now, like I said, for about 10 years. Bachelor's Grove Cemetery is the most haunted cemetery in America. That's a fact. And it is for real. There are things out there that are going on. I have a thing called the Anahata Spirit Portal Box, okay? Where my buddy Steve Lineweber built it, and we actually make direct contact with spirits. It's based off the chakra system. It's actually based off the heart chakra. That's how Steve built it, with all his heart. And what happened is we took it out to the trail. It's not the cemetery that's haunted. It's the land that surrounds it that's haunted. And when we took it out there and we started testing the box many years ago, we started noticing that the voices on the return off the box were backwards. And I noticed that right away. So I put that into the Audacity program. People could see it on my YouTube channel. I reversed the reverse and then ran a forward plane. And you start getting these answers in full sentences. I've broadcast this out. I make sure it's on the bus so people know what they're walking into, what kind of evidence that we found. But we'll get like Angel Michael. I had his training. It'll call my name out. Like I said, it's not just like a word. Like if you're using like an SB7 or SB11, and all of a sudden you just hear Bobby or Jimmy or da-da-da. We're talking sentences.
That's rare. I've never heard that one before.
Yeah. Tell your audience. Well, I'm telling your audience. When you're doing your EVPs, and when you're doing your spirit boxes, pay attention to it. Record it and throw it into an Audacity program and reverse it. See what kind of answers you actually come up with. You're going to be very surprised. I call them mirror zones, where it's reversed from what we are, from look to audio. And I recommend people to do things like that. And you're going to most likely going to find this issue that's going on, where you're going to get these replies that were originally reversed are now running forward, playing after you change it up.
I don't think I've ever had one in reverse, though. That's really different.
Check it out. Yeah, if you go, all right. So if you go to my YouTube thing, it's one of our earliest videos, and I think no, it's not direct spirit communication, because the direct spirit communication is one where, like, this box that we built. Actually, this lady holds a conversation with her dead mother-in-law, and it's a very interesting video. And you're gonna be like, "Oh my God, I don't know if you've ever seen it before, so I can't say that." But you're gonna be very surprised by the On How to Spirit portal box. That's a fact. When it works, it works.
And that's on the Paranormal Guys podcast?
No, that's on Graveside Paranormal YouTube channel.
Okay.
Yeah. You're going to see that. And if you want to, I don't know if you can pull it up or whatever, but it's like about a good 8 minutes long. And I'd go to my phone to tell you exactly where it's at. But
we're fine. Go ahead.
You want me to do that real quick?
No. I don't think we have time, and I'm not allowed to use it anyway like that. So
okay.
I can put up anything you send to me directly, but I can't rip things off of other places like YouTube.
Right. So, but yeah, what I tell people, there's a form of possession that's going on at Bachelor's Grove Cemetery. Back in the 1950s and 60s, people started noticing blue orbs of light bouncing around in the cemetery area. So what's that going to do, Dan? That's going to attract in people with just natural curiosity. So with that, you're also going to get people who are going to have bad curiosity, cult-like activity, which happen. So think of it as like termites to a tree. We start with these termites to a tree. This is the land. Whereas there's a form of possession, but it's not a human host. It's a land host. Where all of a sudden you start getting, whereas termites to a tree, they start gnawing away at this tree, which is this term of land. Then you start to go through an oppression where it starts to break down this tree, which is the land. So these termites are eating away and eating away and eating away, breaking all this down. Then that starts to lead to obsession, which then leads to a possession. There's actual living human beings who get so obsessed with this cemetery that they actually live out there.
Wow.
I've come across these people who have actually, they quit their jobs. They've quit their jobs and they live out in the cemetery. And it's crazy to me, the obsession that goes on with this place. I buyer beware on this, ladies and gentlemen. So if ever you come to the Illinois area, I'm not lying. I'm making you aware. Be very careful. There are attachments that happen in this cemetery.
Now, is that legal to be in there? Some states don't allow it. Some do. Missouri did, but is there laws against it?
Yeah, at night you cannot. I worked for the sheriff's department for 30 years, and I know you cannot. It's in a forest preserve, and it's only an acre long. There's about only 114 tombstones. It was a small thing that's back from the 1800s. Once again, it was part of Native American history, which then led into pioneer history. And there's something very, very real. Also, people believe that there's something that's very interdimensional that's going on. And at first, when this one guy, his name was Pete, and I'll get into his story in a second because this is really weird. Mm-hmm. I thought he was nuts. I really did. I thought, okay, here's another nutball. He started telling me about, he believes that there's something interdimensional that's here and this. I go, well, explain. And at first I didn't believe him, but then people started sending me these photos of these figures. And I was like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. Like if you go back 1991, there was a lady by the name of Judy Huff who took a picture with Dale Kaczmarek with their group, the Madonna of Bachelor's Grove. You're going to find a transparent photo of this lady sitting on this tombstone.
I've seen that. Yes.
Yeah. It's a very well-known photo. And it was on a couple of the shows, and they say that it's a real photo. Now, I'm not a photo expert, so I don't know. I'm not. So, but we've actually caught different things like shadow people inside there, white figures inside there. Many people have caught many things inside there. So this guy, Pete, he was one of these people I'm talking about, got obsessed with it. Now, there's an original story back from the 1800s about a caretaker who took care of the grounds there, and he had a family that lived on the grounds. And he all of a sudden started hearing voices in the woods saying, kill your friends, kill your family, kill your friends, kill your family, like Amityville.
Mm-hmm.
And so one day he just took into effect. He couldn't deal with it anymore. And so he killed off his whole family. And then he hung himself at the gates of Archerwood Cemetery. Now, what's odd about this is this guy named Pete. And I like Pete. I'm not trying to speak ill of the dead. But once again, he had another caretaker who committed suicide at these grounds and was very obsessed with these grounds.
Okay.
This was one of these people that I'm talking about that quit his job, did this and did that. And I told him, I go, Pete, you got some attachments, a possession. I don't know. I go, but something ain't right with you, dude. And I said, you might want to really think about trying to find a professional with this.
Mm-hmm.
He was just so obsessed with this place that he then took his life inside the place. And I tell people, and I warn them again, it's a very real place. Bachelor's Grove Cemetery is a very real place. Don't get me wrong. When you go in there, it's like beautiful, especially in the fall, you got all the leaves. It's like a little tunnel walking in, but buyer beware. What you see may not be what you're going to get.
That's pretty wild. But you were also talking about the St. James, was it?
Yeah, St. James, otherwise known as Monk's Castle. That's the name from people who live in the area. Known for monks back in 1976 and actually 1917, when it was originally. People noticed that there were monks floating around inside of the cemetery. I believe it's a portal haunting that's going on.
Okay.
1976, the sheriff's department, there was an officer who thought there were kids playing at night inside the cemetery. And as he started driving up with his car, his police car, he noticed that they were floating past inside the cemetery grounds.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the definitely hauntings that has been witnessed in St. James Cemetery, otherwise known as Monk's Castle. That's why it's called Monk's Castle.
Have you seen some of this also?
No, I have not seen a monk. I have not seen them.
Okay.
I have seen the blue lights that bounce around in the tree areas, and it is weird. It is pretty weird. Once again, because the supernatural things that are going on because of ley lines. Now, you don't know how widespread really ley lines are. There is no equipment out there that really. I mean, you would have to really have some very good equipment to find out the widespread of ley lines. You really would. Okay. For me, I don't know if that really truly exists.
I've seen maps of them. Are those, you think, accurate, or are those something somebody did just to peddle on YouTube?
Just to peddle on YouTube. There's no way. There's just no way. I mean, you would have to have equipment that has EMFs, and it'd have to be down a little deeper in the ground. Mm-hmm. And you would have to have a large group out there to check the widespread of ley lines. Now, you can start to figure out why certain areas that have ley lines, why? Because if it has limestone. So what I do is I had a lady reach out to me recently, and I'll research these things for people. I'll check out all the different kinds of stones and environment that's in, and I'll do a deep dive into it. And I'll tell her, hey, this is why this is probably happening. You have water next to ley lines. I mean, next to limestone, and you have a certain quartz. You might be getting a certain kind of haunting. It's not just about, like I said before, it's about researching what you're doing and noticing the trends. When everybody calls themselves certain names, like ghost investigator, ghost hunter, but I personally like the word ghost researcher or paranormal researcher, because I try to take a deep dive into things. So back to the ley line thing, I don't think you're ever going to truly know how long or how wide ley lines truly are.
Mm-hmm. That's intriguing. It would be interesting to find out if ley lines are going through. North Carolina's got the big mountain with the brown mountain lights. Mm-hmm. St. Louis has plenty of hauntings. Washington, D.C., of course. You think history plays as much of a part of this as ley lines do?
Oh, hell yeah. So I explained to people that, like, take, for instance, Chicago. I believe that majority of all the hauntings in Chicago are residual hauntings. Majority. Due to 1871, October 8th through the 10th, that's when the Great Chicago Fire happened, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And there was something like, only on number-wise, I guess like 300 people that they were able to find that died, but there was probably more than that. I know there was over 3,000 people that were hurt or injured in the Chicago fires of 1871. The trauma that's going on in an environment, if you and I are running around and things are on fire, and back in those days, they didn't have buildings that made of stone. Everything was made of wood. Even the roads were made of wood. So you get the Chicago fire where originally in July before October, they were already having all these droughts. Things were catching on fire. And then you have Miss Catherine O'Leary, who is blamed for the Chicago fire, but that's not a true story. That's not a true story. She was not the one who did. That's people just made that up because she was an Irish immigrant and they had to find someone to throw the story on. And so the fire did start around that area, but it just caught because the place was so dry.
Mm-hmm.
And it just took it up. I think it was like 3 miles long, the fire. And so all this trauma is happening. So what are we doing? Like I was saying, a lot of Chicagoland area is made of limestone. So we're projecting that energy out into the environment. I'm scared. I'm da-da-da. My trauma, my drama is being projected out into the environment. I'm doing a recording in time now. So on certain times out of the day, once again, environment. If the environment is just right, you're going to all of a sudden start seeing these residual hauntings that are happening in the Chicagoland area. So that's what I try to explain to people, that I believe that majority of Chicagoland area is residual.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. And it's an intriguing theory that that's the cause of it. And it may very well be. It does make sense. Everywhere I've been is limestone in the Midwest.
Right.
Caves everywhere. Now out here, it's all granite. And the hauntings are here, but they're not like they were back in St. Louis or Chicago or in between those two.
Right. And I'm not saying all of them, and I shouldn't even use the word majority. I would just say a lot of the hauntings in the Chicagoland area is residual.
Okay. And that makes perfect sense with all the history that was recorded by the atmosphere there.
Oh, yeah. And like I was telling people, you had Al Capone, the gangsters, 1920s. Mm-hmm. You're going out there shooting up people and this and that. What's that doing? You have all these cars like we were talking about Bachelor's Grove. There's also another haunting where there's phantom vehicles running up and down 143rd. It's right next to Bachelor's Grove Cemetery. People have seen these phantom vehicles in the 1920s and 30s. So something traumatic is going on when these cars are going past. My mom actually saw this, and that's how I started finding out about these phantom vehicles. Okay. It's just weird that it just happened. I was taking her home on Christmas Eve after Mass, and she said, "Neal, watch out for that car." My mom had a crazy eye that just peered out to the right. So you always hear the thing, the story, you see something out of the corner of your eye. Well, my mom saw something, but it wasn't there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That probably is part of what started you on this voyage as well.
No. So when I was younger, and we were talking about demons earlier, and what I believe certain things are. When I was young, I was about 7 years of age. My mom and dad, they went through a really bad divorce. My mom and dad had 3 boys, me and my 2 brothers. And I try to explain to people, like I did before, that it's due to certain things in our lives that cause this disruption in our lives, where these demons will come around. True. So my mom used to wake up every night about 3:00 in the morning and start screaming at the top of her lungs. And us as little kids, we go in there and wake her up. She never knew that she was screaming. Mm-hmm. So we didn't know what was going on, but then we knew that she was doing this like almost every night at 3 a.m., 2 or 3, something like that. And one night it was just like clockwork. I woke up and I was looking out into the hallway, and I saw this small impish looking creature looking in at the room at me. And then it smiled and then looked inside my mom's room and then looked back at me and smiled, and then proceeded to go in my mom's room, where therein she started screaming again. Mm-hmm. of course, as 7-year-old kid, you're scared as heck. And I put the covers over my head. It wasn't until some time later that I started figuring out what things were going on. So that's actually how I really got into it, other than when I worked for the sheriff's department. I used to listen to Art Bell all the time.
Me too.
Yeah. I mean, that's what kept us awake, right?
Absolutely.
When we worked midnights, I worked midnights for 28 years. And that was my go-to when the night started. I put it on at 11 o'clock at night, listen to Art Bell, and then it went into George Norrie. And I would I learned a lot of stories, but of course you had a bunch of crazy people who went on some of these things, and you're just like, come on, man.
Oh, that's part of the fun.
Yeah. You know, like I love the whole story of Mel's Hole. I don't know if you ever remember that one.
Oh, I got a recording of it. Yeah.
Oh, that was so good. That was so good.
Hey, Neal, I do have to step out here for just a minute. Would you hang on? We'll be right back to talk some more.
Yep.
Oh, guys, this one's been fun. Now, we're both ex-cops. He did 30-some years. I did 35 years. We're both paranormal investigators or researchers, if you will. And it's a lot of fun to talk with Neal, both from the Midwest. That's pretty cool. But speaking of cool, I do need you to check this out, and I'll be right back.
The new book, How to Research a Haunted House by paranormal investigator Margie Kay and professional researcher Violet Wisdom, is now available from Unex Media. This one-of-a-kind book explains how to do research on a house with uncommon methods and resources used by historic home researchers, and how to determine who may be doing the haunting and why. How to Research a Haunted House can be used by homeowners, renters, investors, and it should be in the library of all professional paranormal investigators. Get this unique book at unexmedia.com or amazon.com. That's unexmedia.com or amazon.com.
All right, friends, I got a lot more to talk about. Neal has sent us some really impressive photos he's taken at one of the cemeteries on different nights. But I do want to remind you about the Unex Network, and we'll talk more about that at the end of the show. But joining gives you so many perks. And again, I'm going to talk more about that, but I want to get back to Neal because we're having a lot of fun with this conversation. You know, Neal, when you're talking about that, I was in a class once. And there was this huge, big, muscular, 6'8" cop from St. Louis area. Yeah. And the subject got on to what we listened to on the midnights and, of course, Art Bell. And he said he listens to it most every night, like you and I, it keeps you awake. But he said, most nights I patrol all around the streets. But when those EVPs come on from that one team that used to be on there about once every 2 months.
Yeah,
so I have to keep moving. I cannot park anywhere. So the EVPs just creeped him out so much. This big, huge armed man could not park anywhere.
Right. No, I get it. I mean, some people freak out. Even your biggest, you would think is the baddest dude on the planet. They just get a little nervous about it, and rightfully so. And
if you're anything like me, while we was driving, we were checking the rearview mirror, make sure there wasn't anyone in the back seat watching us. We didn't invite in.
You never know.
That's it. Yeah. All right. You sent a bunch of neat photos I want to get to, but can you set us up on this cemetery where most of them come from?
All right. So Archer Woods Cemetery, located in Palos, Illinois, right outside of Archer Avenue. Originally, when I started doing this tour here, it's a simple story about a young lady who passed and is crying at the gate of Archer Woods Cemetery. And then, so I tell the story of that. We run our spirit box, but I tell people throughout the whole night, take pictures. Then all of a sudden, for so many years now, we're always getting shadow people inside this. So
Okay.
I was on MSN News, and I was showing pictures of some of these things, and they were like, "Oh my God, this is unbelievable!" But there are a lot of shadow people. I believe the reason why you have shadow people inside this place is because back in the 1920s, there was a thing called the Gravediggers Strike. And there were a lot of bodies that were mislaid because they never got to their proper resting place. And I believe either that or it's some maybe Native Americans in the area, spirits of these Native Americans. And people ask, they go, "Well, what do you think, Neal, what do you think these shadow people are?" Me personally, a lot of people, they get nervous. They believe because it's dark, these things are dark, that it's something malevolent, right? I think it's due to environment, where one moment in the environment, you're going to see a spirit that's translucent. Then maybe the environment changes and maybe they take on a darker view. That's one of my theories about that. It doesn't mean that each and every one of these things is some demonic, dark entity just because they're dark. That's the interpretation because of the mind. But I believe that maybe that there's regular spirits who take on a different look, almost like I wouldn't say camouflage, but just a different look when the environment's a little bit different. That's my opinion on that.
I come across I started doing this in, I guess 79 when I got my driver's license. And in all those years, I've come across one case that I'm pretty sure was demonic because it had all the earmarks of it, but I turned it over to somebody more experienced than I and let it go. But demons are rare. I mean, they are incredibly rare, unlike what you'd see on television and movies.
Oh yeah, I agree. I agree that it is rare. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of documented cases. Like, take for instance, all right, you ever hear of the Roth House in Watseka, Illinois?
I've heard of the Watseka case, yeah.
Yeah, the Watseka Wonder.
Yes.
So that's actually the first documented possession in America, right?
Okay.
It's a book that came out, Watseka Wonder, but it's not a possession. But what they did is they made sure that was the title of the book. Why? Because that's going to bring people in. It's actually a spiritual miracle that happened inside this house. We actually had over 150 people at an event I had last year where we did a seance on the grounds. Yeah, we did a seance on the grounds at the Roth House last year. And we filmed everything like that. We're going to be putting it out into a film festival. It was very interesting. The emotions that were going on inside on this land was unbelievable. But to your point of like demons and this and that, the case that you're talking about, people choose words to bring people in.
Of course.
And that a lot of those things are done like that. And of course, I understand it's for money, but it is what it is.
All right. Well, let's go back to talking about these pictures. The first one here is this incredible shadow person with, boy, I don't know. I would almost say the face was starting to develop better. Yeah.
So you can see where it's like floating out of this. That's the cemetery gate to its right. You can see where it's like floating out of the cemetery area. Once again, I tell other people, keep taking random photos all night long. You do not know what you're going to find. And this is just one of them. And this was just, I believe this one here was about 3 years ago.
Okay. And what was going on here? Is this where the woman was crying at the gate?
Supposedly that's the area. And I tell people take pictures at that area. That's supposedly where she's crying at. And it's for like a wailing lady, for your audience knows, why is there wailing ladies, crying ladies? It's either they're crying for a lost love or for a child. What's odd about the story is that in Resurrection Cemetery, known for Resurrection Mary, there has been a phantom sighting of a hearse casket being drawn by horses with fire in their iron. The size of it is like a child's casket. It makes its way to Archerwood Cemetery.
Wow.
Yeah.
That would be intriguing. Is it, am I seeing a reflection, but just right at head height, there's a white spot in the tree?
So I don't know what that is. Some people believe it's a face. But me personally, I really do not know what that is. And just so you know, there's no reflection there. This is at night. That's all brick. That whole column there is made of brick. There are no little steel posts, there's posts there like that. You see those rivets and stuff, but there's no plaques. There's no plaques or anything like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, I was thinking that was a tree till you just said that, but no, there's a tree right behind the top of the post.
Yeah, the tree's behind it. That's a column. That's a brick column.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's right at the gate of the cemetery.
Yes.
And then where's this one at?
So this is in the same area, just a little further over to the right. That's actually the tree. That's from the first picture, but on a different angle. Okay. So that's the bus that we utilized. And you can see the figure where the feet are right there, and then the legs, it's standing next to our bus. Once again, another random photo.
And these were taken by people on your tour.
These are taken by, and I ask everybody the minute that, because I tell them, you are now the investigator tonight. You need to look at your evidence. Go through your evidence. And then they go on the bus and they go, Neal, at the next stop that we go to, which is Chet Smelly Lounge, known for Resurrection Mary. They show me it. And then what I do is then I put it through different sequences at home. And then if I feel that it's something to utilize, then I go ahead and I put it up on my Facebook page.
It's intriguing. And the reason I'm saying that is we always ask people and I've done tours all around the Midwest before I moved to North Carolina when I retired. And even here, you ask folks, oh, they show me that. That's great. Would you send it to me? And you never hear from them again.
Yeah. No, yeah. You're absolutely right. Some people have done that to me. It's either because they're on bull crap and they're trying to do something. Because what I do is I put it through like natural light. I put it through different kind of lighting sequences to see if I can get a better pop. If I get that better pop and I'm able to take out all the darkness out of a photo, and that thing is still there, or if I make it brighter and that thing is still there, to call it a shadow person, I will call it a shadow person, but sometimes on some of the pictures, I'll just say this is an anomaly, something that's there that shouldn't be there.
Okay. Well, then this one.
Now this, I have to say, man, this is the best photo we ever got there. This is not in the daytime, just so you know that people's iPhones, they brighten up when they when they take a picture.
Right.
So it looks like daytime, but it's not. This is actually at night.
Okay.
And you see, because we were talking about it before, there's actually two people there. In the first photo that's up front, you see two legs there. And next to it is another person because you see two heads where they're running through the cemetery.
And up until you pointed that out to me just before the show, I only saw one person there, but now I can see the second one.
Yeah.
After you mentioned it.
Mm-hmm.
So is this the same cemetery?
Yeah, it's same cemetery. These shadow people, it's amazing to me how many times during the season we get these photos. Like I have more of these. These are not just the only ones I have.
Well, that's pretty wild. And why is it that cemetery?
I don't know.
Okay.
My theory is, like I said, I believe maybe it's from the Gravedigger strike. Maybe there's lost souls. I don't know. Maybe it's the Native Americans. To be definitive about it, I couldn't.
No idea.
No idea.
You sent me one more. Is that from the same cemetery with what looked like a nun?
Now this is taken on a daytime tour at Holy Sepulchre Cemetery in Chicago Ridge, Illinois, where we were telling the stories of the Grimes sisters' murders in 1956. And this is an older group, just so your audience knows. Mm-hmm. These are seniors, and I tell them same thing, take pictures. And this photo of this nun popped up, and that nun was not there.
That is just stunning.
Because when you take the senior group that's early in the morning, and there's really nobody in the cemeteries early in the morning, and there was really nobody there.
Okay.
And I would have remembered seeing a lady who had, that looks like something from like the 60s or 70s type nun outfit.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they don't even really wear those anymore because it was just so weird. It's just an odd picture.
And because this was the holy, and I can't pronounce that word. This is a Catholic cemetery, I'm assuming.
Yes, this is a Catholic cemetery by the Archdiocese of Chicago.
And that definitely looks like a habit she's wearing.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, it's for you to decide either yay or nay. I tell everybody, I'm going to tell you what I think it is. If you don't agree with me, that's fine. You make that choice.
The lower section of that, is that a tombstone?
Those are tombstones, yes.
Did you happen to figure out whose stone it was?
No, this was not sent to me. I mean, not sent to me. This was given to me the minute that we left the bus. I mean, we left the cemetery on the bus. So I had to go. I'd have to go back.
Might be worth the trip because that is an amazing capture.
Yeah.
And you show these on the tour.
Yes.
As you guys are moving from place to place, and that in itself is pretty incredible.
Oh yeah, we show you all the evidence. Like I said, I show you all the evidence because I find it important. If I'm going to tell you the stories, I should investigate these stories.
And how long have you been doing these tours, Neal?
10 years. This is our 10th anniversary. So
you've got the paranormal podcast, the Paranormal Guys podcast.
Right.
You've got tours. Plus, are you doing public investigations?
So I do public. I send people to haunted locations as well, and I have people in those locations that help out people as their guide. Okay. So they're out there as well.
What kind of places can you send them to?
Monroe House. We're going to have Monroe House on this year in October. The Roth House. We're going to be doing a different kind of tour there, where you're going to be able to go into the Roth House, like I was telling you about before. Mm-hmm. The spiritual miracle. It's actually a very interesting story. But we're also going to be doing the Watseka Museum. That's like 3 blocks away. So we're going to do a half and half tour where we're going to have 15 people at the Roth House, 15 people at the Watseka Museum, and then we're going to switch it 4 hours in and let everybody just do the other one as well.
Do you ever video these so people can see kind of what is going on them?
Yeah. So we'll do videos, not really live feeds or anything like that, but we will do stuff like that, yes.
Graveside Paranormal on YouTube. And gravesideparanormal.com. Where else can these folks find out information about you? You're on Facebook, I know.
Yeah, Graveside Paranormal on Facebook, Graveside Paranormal on .com. I have my TikTok, but I took down all the TikToks because in October I'm coming out with these short stories. But you're going to be able to go to Graveside Paranormal on TikTok, where I'm getting very, very versed in how to use certain kinds of like Wondershare and ChatGPT and blend it together for short stories. Okay. And I'm going to premiere that now at the 1st of October throughout the whole month.
Where do people get tickets for this?
They're going to get tickets at the website, gravesideparanormal.com, or go click on the links that are on Graveside Paranormal Facebook. We have a special event going on August 2nd. It's 25 tickets only, a seance underneath the moonlight at the Roth House. We're going to have Diette Renee. She is going to be doing a seance on the ground as well as doing readings. We're going to do an investigation. One of the things that I do with our investigations at locations, I send you all the EVPs so that you can discover for yourself for your investigation.
People can also get on the internet somewhere and see some of this afterwards?
Oh, yeah. Go on YouTube. Go on to my YouTube channel. I just put up EVPs from the Roth House from the thing that we did, the seance last October. And you can listen to all the EVPs and you decide what you want to believe and not believe.
That's pretty cool. What's the one place that you just really love to take people that's almost always got some kind of action?
That Archerwood Cemetery, I tell everybody about, just take these pictures because of these shadow people.
Can you get into that cemetery at night?
You're not supposed to.
Okay.
But it doesn't have anything of saying that it's restricted or anything. It's an open gate. It's an open gate.
Okay. So it's an open gate and the place is full of shadow people and you've gotten some awesome photos from there.
Yes.
All right. Neal, it's been incredible. I think people's be interested in coming to some of the stuff you've been showing. Like I said, we've got Graveside Paranormal on YouTube has this incredible evidence. Your website gives you all the information. And, of course, you've got the tours and investigations. What's next for Graveside Paranormal?
Well, I'm trying to set up all new tours that we're going to be doing this year. I'm working on all the posters and all the descriptions. We got a lot on our plate. I have a lot on my plate that I'm trying to get done. Now that I'm retired, I'm able to do a lot more of these things.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's going to be interesting. Now, are you going to be doing some of these things after October?
Yeah, I'll be at Days of the Dead. I do speaking engagements at things. I'll be at Days of the Dead for 3 days, doing a speaking thing. I don't know what subject I'm going to do yet, but I'll be at certain conventions and stuff like that where you can come, listen to me and many other people who are very versed into the paranormal supernatural.
Days of Dead, is that part of the Troy Taylor stuff?
No, that's Hauntings, American Hauntings. Yeah, Troy's got that. Got that. Yeah.
Who's doing Days of the Dead?
It's a company. This company, they do it from state to state all year long.
Oh, wow. Okay. I always think of that day after Halloween for Day of the Dead, but
yeah, you would think that, but it's based off all horror, and it's basically based off of horror.
Okay.
Yeah.
Neal, you're a busy man, but thanks for giving me some time here and showing this incredible evidence. It's been awesome.
Thank you very much, Dan, for your time.
Hey, hang loose for a little bit. I'll get back on in a little bit, all right?
All right.
All right, take it easy. Yeah, I like talking to Neal. He's like most cops we talk to. They are more down to earth. I don't know what's going on. I've got theories. Here they are, but I do not know. Nobody is an expert in this field. As I've said many times, anyone who calls himself an expert is out to get your money. What Neal's doing is showing you how to find it, where to find it. You make up your own mind, and that's exactly the way it should be done. And that's pretty cool. All right, friends, I do want to talk to you just a little bit about the Onyx Network. As I was telling you earlier, there's a lot of stuff going on down there. And if you become a member, and it's easy, you get on the first page of onyxnetwork.com, drop down a little bit. There's a thing to join. And what do you get out of it? Well, first off, you get access to the blog. And the blog has been burning up this year. There's something going on. I'm not exactly sure what, but I can tell you that there's more sightings of winged humanoids that they're reporting and showing photos of. There is Mothman. He was seen over the Missouri River or the Mississippi, one or the other, right there in Missouri. There was a time here about a year ago when somebody in Las Vegas claimed Mothman was trying to get into their 10th floor room in a hotel or something. There's always something going on. The news is coming out. The Tic Tacs, when the Navy was showing out pictures of these Tic Tacs and the video, that was all on there. It keeps you up to date. There's also the newsletter that comes out sometimes daily with not just what shows are going to be on the network that night, but again, other things that's just going on. Sometimes it'll pop up because somebody saw a disc-shaped UFO or a triangle or whatever. Then there's the magazines. Magazines come out once a month. If you're a member, or I think now we've went to twice a month. If you're a member, you usually get it in the email. The whole thing gets emailed to you. And if you want a copy of it, they run $13, $14, but you can order a paper copy of it as well. And each issue has something special on it. This is the Onyx magazine, Paranormal. This was October a couple of years ago. I had 2 stories I'd written for that one. This one over here was strictly, well, not strictly about UFOs, but that was the overriding theme. We still had some ghosts in there and some cryptids and all that good stuff. A very recent one we put out, I had a long story about haunted dolls, because I got to tell you guys, haunted dolls is the one thing that creeps me. I've been shot at. Had people pull knives on me. I've been in these haunted places, demonic case one time. Nothing creeps me out more than a doll. It's just my own thing, I guess. And this one here is a very recent one, The Last Call at the Devil's Diner. I had written many stories, and it's in some of my books, about the Tri-County truck stop, also known as the Old Diamonds truck stop. It was extremely haunted, had a lot of adventures in that place. And recently it was destroyed in a tornado. So this was the last article. I will write about it, but it's called The Last Call at the Devil's Diner. And all of those, you can order them if you become a member or on the newsletter, because it'll tell you where you can do that. But there's a lot going on with the Onyx Network if you get a chance to join up. Other than that, I'm afraid I am going to have to slide on out of here. So I want you all, do me the favor, stay calm. Don't let this stuff get to you. Don't let it possess you. He was talking. It's a slow tearing down process, kind of like, actually not unlike domestic situations where the man slowly, or the woman slowly, tears down their partner's personality. And that's kind of what's going on. You can step away from it, walk out of it, go seek help. But most of all, and I know it sounds kind of weird after what I just said to you, I want you all to stay spooked, okay? Good night.